Good morning, Spartans. Happy Wednesday, May 11th. You can see the agenda today. We are going to be talking about pre and post-industrial societies. What the topic is about is how the economic evolution of human society has changed and added steps to our social structures. Prior to industrialism, prior to the agricultural revolution, there was not a whole lot of variation in our social structure. People were more or less relatively equal. Due to economic evolution, due to the agricultural revolution and a division of labor and specialized skills, we're going to see a significant number of steps added to our social structure, which changes our statuses, which complicates our statuses, and then obviously will change our rights and obligations. That's what the topic is about. Fortunately for me, I had missed a day previously in the year where I was talking about this information, so I've already have a short lecture filmed. So this intro is going to cut to that previously filmed lecture. When you are done, there won't be any return to this page. You just need to keep in mind, when you're done watching the video, you still have pages 156 through 159 to read, questions 27 through 30 in the vocab. That is due for tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll start talking about primary and secondary groups. So watch the video. If you need to pause the video to get any of the notes down, obviously do that. But when you're done, you still have questions 27 through 30 in the vocab, which you'll find on pages 156 through 159. Just a heads up, as I will be back tomorrow. Anybody looking to make up or retake an exam before school, I'll be available. I'm usually at school at 8 o'clock. You can also do it during 6th and 7th hours. Those are my free periods, tomorrow or Friday, but I will not be available after school the rest of the week. Hope you're all doing well. Oh, one last thing. The video that I previously filmed was back when I was still shaving my head. So you're going to see quite a little difference in appearance here when it cuts to the previously filmed video. With that, I hope all of you are doing well. We'll see you tomorrow, and go Spartans. This week, we have been talking about social structures, where you are, where people are in society, right? The status that position has, right? People above you, people below you, all right? And then the roles that come with that. You have both rights and obligations associated with your status. What the section talked about yesterday that you were supposed to read on the pre-industrial societies, what that section was talking about was how the societal structure and the statuses within that societal structure, and then subsequently the roles, obligations, and rights that came from that were relatively limited. They were not as diverse as they are today. The reason why, in the pre-industrial society, there wasn't a division of labor, meaning there wasn't a bunch of different people doing a bunch of different jobs. Everyone did the same thing. If everybody had to go out and kill a wildebeest, gut it, and eat it, there's no way someone could be above or below someone else. If everyone's got to go out and looking for twigs and berries to eat, some grasses to chew on, there's no way someone could be above or below someone else. If we look at the course of human history, there are several societies that predate industrialism. Hunting and gathering, we're talking like Neolithic Stone Age, 10,000 years ago. Right? You have pastoral societies, you have horticultural societies. We're talking about, more or less tenant farmers, tenant ranchers and farmers. And then finally, once we get past the agricultural revolution, okay, we have agricultural societies. And what happens during each of these transitional societies as we go from hunting and gathering, where we're all out walking around the woods trying to find a berry to eat, up to the agricultural societies where we can mass produce food for millions of people, is we see a division of labor, okay? There is some division of labor in the horticultural and pastoral societies where we are more easily capable of producing food. If we can produce food for people to eat so they don't die, then people can go on and do other things. When people go on and start doing other things, that changes the social structure. Some people might be doing something that's more important than someone else. That would give them a better status. Okay. Hunting and gathering, where we're all just trying to survive. No division of labor. Everyone's equal. Everyone has the same status. Very narrow social structure. But as we are able to satisfy our daily needs of survival, specifically food, then we're going to start specializing people's employment. We're going to start giving people very specific tasks to do. All right. That is going to cause a change in the social structure. Don't get me wrong, giving people special things to do, specific things to do, is how human advancement is made. Right? There's a reason why we're all not roaming around down by the river trying to survive, living in caves. We've advanced. We've advanced because of a division of labor. The problem with the division of labor is it complicates the social structure. It makes the social structure more diverse. It makes it bigger. People get assigned specific statuses. Some people are above that. Some people are below it. Eventually, it will lead to inequality. Okay, some division of labor, some inequality during the horticultural, pastoral societies. When we get into the agricultural societies, there is even greater division of labor. The social structure gets even bigger. The differences in status change significantly. Inequality between status A and status B grows. I'd imagine you probably can already guess it. When we get into the industrial societies and the post-industrial societies, the social structure gets even more complicated. Statuses get even more different from one another. And the inequalities, yes, they do. They get even more extreme from people with the top status to people with the bottom status. Industrialism, okay? This whole concept about social structure and the status and rights and obligations that go with it, okay, are further complicated by industrialism, okay? In class yesterday, we talked about what school you're going to go to, right? Harvard is different than Oregon State. Iowa is different than Minnesota. Doctors are different than plumbers. Not saying one is better than the other, but there are just different opinions about them. They carry different status. They're thought of differently. Okay, there's reasons for that, and that's what we're looking at here today. All right. The reason why there wasn't a whole lot of difference in the status of the very limited social structures that existed in the pre-industrial societies, hunting and gathering, okay, pastoral, all right, horticultural, they're all kind of doing the same thing. They're all just trying to get food to survive. Everyone can do those jobs. Is there some difference between mom and dad and son and daughter? I'm sure there are, but not significant. Not like today when you look at a person who works at McDonald's and a person who is, the president of Wells Fargo. Industrialization really puts added emphasis on the different statuses that people have based on where they are in the structure. By the time we get into the 1700s in Europe and the 1800s in the United States, or the end of the 1800s in the United States, there is clearly difference between top and bottom in our society, in our social structure. Okay, and it all comes down to what people are doing and what people can do. All right. Everyone can walk around the woods and find some twigs and berries to eat to survive during the hunter and gathering stage. And I'm sure many of us could figure out how to farm, even if we've never been outside before. Not so hard to dig a hole in the ground and put some seeds in. We all can do that. My point is when we figured out how to mass produce food, that allowed some of us to really heighten our sense and our skills on very specific fields. And when people were able to heighten and specify their skills in very certain areas, that led to a significant amount of, division of labor, sure, but separation between the haves and the have-nots. I mean, think about it. How many professional athletes are there? How many professional entertainers are there? How many doctors are there? Compare that to how many school teachers are there? How many gas station attendants are there? What the Industrial Revolution allowed people to do was to further diversify and go into very special fields. And it's all good, right? This is what we call human advancement. We used to not have medicine. Being able to plant food and provide food in abundance allowed us to work on medicine. It allowed us to work on science. But at the same time, it developed the haves and the have-nots. Okay, a couple of terms here. The first couple of terms, this Ferdinand Tönnies, obviously he's a German sociologist, right? He has the Gemeinschaft and the Gesellschaft, right? He's talking about the Gemeinschaft, the community, right, versus the Gesellschaft, society. What he's talking about as we got farther away from agriculture, as we got farther away from communal farming, community farming, all right, we became larger in diversity, we became larger in size. We're no longer a community, we're a society. And think about this. We have our own little school community, right? Simile School Community is a part of a larger society that could be the Inver Grove Heights School District, or the city of Inver Grove, or Dakota County, or the state of Minnesota. Okay, as we became more technologically advanced and people got very special skills, or figured out very special skills, or developed very special skills, we became less connected to one another. We had less in common with one another, right? We shift from that family community-based collection of people to a very spread out, very disconnected, unconnected society. All right. Emile Durkheim does the same thing. Her terms are very complicated, right? We've got mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. All right, mechanical solidarity, like a machine, everything is very, very close in proximity. Everything works together. Okay. That's how she would describe the pre-industrial world. Everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's got it down. Everyone's got the routine. It all just clicks together. Boom, 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 boom. All right. The organic solidarity. She's called it that because she's basically breaking it down or explaining it as an organism. Right. Our bodies all got things going on. Our face, right, makes us look good. Okay. Our eyes allow us to see, our ears allow us to hear, our bum allows us to go boom, boom. Okay. Everything's got a process, but there's some disconnect. Everyone's doing their own thing. All right. That's what she's talking about there. That's where those terms come into play. We just need to understand that industrialization, okay, allowed us a further diversified field of labor. We each got our own jobs. The jobs that are most appreciated, that have the highest status, are the jobs that the fewest people can do. The ones with the finite amount of skill. Well, the people on the bottom of the social structure, okay, which almost could be performed by an infinite amount of people because they do not require a very specific set of skills. After industrialization, after industrialism, we have the post-industrial society. And this is where, just like before, it gets even worse. Because when we get into the post-industrial society, what we have here are very much economies and industries that are based on intelligence, the ability to process information. So now it's not so much building, now it's not so much construction, now it's not so much manufacturing, it's what we can process in our heads. And if you go back and you look at industrialization definitely created the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. Now that the manufacturing or the industrialism is gone, we still have this group of people here that have a lot of money that can send their kids to school to do these service jobs that I'm talking about: medicine, healthcare,
finance, science, technology, whatever it is. The poorer people that were doing manufacturing jobs, now they've got an issue because their jobs are gone and they got to figure out a way to send their kids. They got to figure out a way to send themselves to school so they can retool themselves so they can do these service industry jobs. It complicates the matter. The division of labor, it's very spread out. It creates haves and have-nots. Right? That's why certain positions have certain thoughts about them.